So I've always thought I was clear on what it is I desire. And
hard to stay clear though, because it keeps changing.
It does.
Yeah. Because you are eternal and expanding.
Well, I guess the thing is I've extremely successfully created the total opposite of what I desire.
Because in order to really know what you do want, often it helps to have clarity about what you don't want. And that's part of the process. So, as Esther's friend says to her, and Esther wants to say to you, suck it up, Buttercup. We're playing with you a little bit because we want you to just chill here. But we want you to understand that that contrast is part of the process, right? The contrast is part of the process. Do you ride a bicycle occasionally? Did you ever ride one?
I used to.
Did you get right on it and ride right off on it?
Sometimes.
But the first time, what happened the first time?
It wasn't pretty.
Really? And so, isn't it sort of kind of the same? Doesn't it take a little while to get your balance? And even though you had an idea of what you wanted, you couldn't go right after it and accomplish it right away, could you? Because there were some things that you had to figure out, like how to find your own balance. And you got better and better and better at it, didn't you? And this is the same. That simplistic analogy applies. It does. This is an important thing. Don't go back and try to relitigate or explain or defend how it's been going or what you've been doing. Just start with where you are now in relationship to what you now want, and try to look a little more solution oriented or a little more optimistically oriented. Because what we said at the beginning of this gathering was for you. When we said to you that so much of what you want is ready to pop into your mind and into your experience. And the fact that it hasn't popped yet doesn't mean that it's not there, and doesn't mean that it's not ready to pop. Can you at least understand the idea of that?
I think so. It's kind of a rush to hear that though. So
yeah,
kind of caught up in it right now.
But doesn't it make sense that, haven't you wondered how thoughts turn to things? Most humans don't wonder that. They just look around at the things and pile them up and fight over them. They fight over existing things instead of creating new things. But hardly any of them think, well, where did those things come from? Maybe we could get some more things from the same places that those things came from. No, let's just fight over the things that have already come. That's no fun. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the, I guess, mental dilemmas I'm in right now is that since my last birthday, I've literally had many people in my life saying, well, it's too late for you now. And it's like, well, I entirely don't agree.
It's too late for them. And it will remain too late as long as they say it's too late. It's too late. Because when you want something but it's too late, it's not going to show up now. But I really want it, but it's too late. But I really want it, but it's too late. But I really want it, but it's too late. That's contradictory energy. But when you say, I really want it and it's on its way, that's a whole different thing. I really want it and it's never too late. I really want it and I'm clearer now than I've ever been. I really want it and now I understand how the laws of the universe work. I really want it and what has been is not as important as what is now, and what is now feels dynamic. I really want it and I know it's coming. Listen to your words, but more important, feel how they feel when you say them. And if you find yourself saying discouraging words, take a nap.
I like naps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I try and do is disregard that and try and stay clear on what it is I do want. But by disregarding those around me, am I not closing myself off to possibilities?
No, you're closing yourself off to unpossibilities, impossibilities. In other words, when you don't listen to naysayers, it can only help you.
Okay. That's comforting.
So let's role play a little bit. We're going to be you, and you be those that you were just describing. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming next for myself.
Well, you're way too old for it. It's about 10 years past your time now.
Oh, there are so many people that discovered who they were much later in life than I am. I feel fortunate that at this early age of my life that I'm on this.
Okay, do you really think that you're that sort? Do you really think that you're one of the 1% out there?
Oh, I don't even think it's 1%. I think it's 100%. I think that any of us, but you see, we are not encouraging you really, although it's really fun, to argue with people who are in a different place. Because when you try to convince someone who's got their mind made up against themselves and against you, then you take this defensive posture. It's only really fun to do that when you're really tuned in and you're really sure of what you're saying. If you're not sure of what you're saying, since they are so sure of what they are saying, because they have so much momentum, they have proof about life failure. And so they're coming on strong, you see. And you don't right now feel that you have proof about life success, so they're going to come on stronger. Someone said to Esther the other day, Esther, you don't cope well in negative emotion at all, do you? And Esther said, no, I'm a mess. I don't cope in negative emotion at all. I can hardly even make words form in my mouth when I get into a negative place. But some people are really good at it because that's where they live. That's what they've been practicing. And so right now you've sort of got one foot in both worlds. You're understanding possibilities, but you can't see them and hear them and smell them and taste them and touch them yet. And so you're letting their view of your not yet manifested creations confuse you about where you are in the process. Does that make sense to you? Yes. And so don't engage with them. They'll just think you're nutty. If you try to tell them about the vortex, they might lock you up. You see, there's a vibrational reality where all of the things that I want are forming. And magical fairies and angels are tending to them. And when I get my head just in the right place, they'll come into my experience where I can see them. We get it. This sounds implausible. But it's the way the universe works, and there's not a shred of evidence to the contrary of it anywhere, you see. But you can't explain it to people who aren't ready to hear it. So just know it. Isn't there satisfaction in knowing something? We said to Esther several times, just lately, understand, don't try to explain. Understand, don't try to explain. Because when you understand, you stand in your alignment. When you try to explain to somebody who isn't ready to understand, then you get defensive.
This is getting very clear now.
Yeah. You're wise. Can you feel him?
Yeah. Thank you. So I'm understanding what I shouldn't be doing. I need to...
Knowing what you shouldn't be doing and knowing what you should be doing are sort of the same thing. You come to a corner and you say, I think I'll go that way. Well, you didn't go that way. You went that way. But did you fail because you didn't go that way, or did you succeed because you went that way? So of course you got to know what you don't want in order to know what you do want. That's natural. That's the most natural thing in the world. That's what decisiveness is. That's what sifting and sorting is. That's what focusing is.
So focus, then, it's my understanding that the conscious thoughts we think are what prompts our vibration. But one of the things I read and I've heard in other seminars is that there are subconscious vibrations that can override our conscious thoughts.
No.
Is there a such thing as that?
Well, of course there's thought before the thought, before the thought, before the thought. In other words, law of attraction is sort of managing all of that. But look at it this way. If it's a subconscious or an unconscious thought, then it's not a big vibrational player in your point of attraction. So what you're thinking now is really what matters most. The only reason that thoughts that you've thought before have any significance at all is because you kind of tend to keep thinking the same thoughts. But sometimes people will say, oh, but I'm worried about those subconscious thoughts. And we say, if you're feeling emotion around them, they're not unconscious. And if you're not feeling emotion, they're not big enough players to matter. That makes sense to you? So if you're feeling strong negative emotion, don't call them unconscious or subconscious. They're conscious. And the reason that they don't feel good is because your conscious thought about whatever you're thinking about and your inner being's conscious thought in the same moment about whatever you're thinking about don't jive. Your inner being knows you can do it. You might be saying you can't do it. That's not jiving, and you'll feel negative emotion. Or your inner being is loving this person while you're not. That's not jiving, and you'll feel negative emotion. You know what we are enjoying with you the most is that you came with things to talk about. Good things too. Good things, well thought out things. But you're listening to what we're saying in this moment. And your vibration is adjusting to the conversation, which means you're comprehending and your vibration is raising because of the conversation. You're a good listener. That's to your advantage when you're listening to a condition that is uplifting in nature, but it's to your disadvantage when you're listening to someone talking about something that isn't. You see what we're getting at? Everyone is that way to a certain extent, but you are a really good focuser. So what that means is you want to get your momentum going ahead of it, which is what segment intending is. If you know that you're going to be interacting with someone and you've had former conversations with them where they have been discouraging to you in nature, then you might want to segment intend not to go where they are, or to be ready for them when you get there, or to guide the subject in directions that you know that you'll be able to hold your own with them a little bit, you see. But don't subject yourself. That would be like getting in your car and turning on your radio. Esther loves music coming through her XM radio, and hearing a song that last time you heard it you didn't like how you felt, but you just keep listening to it thinking that this time maybe you'll feel better. Or listening to someone talking in ways that are very disturbing to you. It would be like eating ground glass and saying to yourself, I should be able to adjust to this. In time, my tongue will toughen up. And we say, that's where that selfishness comes in. In other words, don't subject yourself to things that don't feel good. There's no reason for it. You don't want to toughen up against things that don't feel good. You want to guide yourself toward things that do. You're guiding yourself to alignment, because in alignment there's empowerment and there's clarity and there's exhilaration and there's fun. Yeah.
Great.
Did we get there?
I think so.
I think so too. Really
Thank
good.
you so much.
Yeah.